Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I thought I would make a fairly short video because the information in here is quite succinct about metabolic bone disease in reptiles. MBD or metabolic bone disease is probably something the majority of you are aware of, especially as you should be doing loads of research before you even entertain the idea of bringing home some sort of exotic reptile. But even if you are a really experienced reptile keeper, that you are still always at risk of encountering. MBD or metabolic bone disease is one of the most commonly seen kind of nutritionally caused diseases that you will see in reptiles. It can result in all sorts of things like soft palate, tremors, weakness, brittle bones, and it comes in several different forms. I know that some of you may be familiar with the osteoporosis. That is actually something that we get as humans. It's brittle bone disease. It can also show up in the form of rickets, osteomalacia, fibrous osteodystrophy, and actually secondary nutritional hypothyroidism. You have no idea how many times I had to say those. But there are various different kinds and various different ways in which metabolic bone disease can show up. And to give you the most basic form of what it is a phosphorus and calcium imbalance within the body of your reptile, which of course upsets all sorts of things, mainly skeletal structure, which of course is integral to having a healthy reptile. In more advanced cases, you won't just see a slight misshapen body or kinks, bends and stuff in the spine, tail, legs or anything. You may also see some tremors, a soft palate, weakness in general and fractures as well, which is really not nice. I will be inserting some pictures for you guys. Also, I recommend always having a little Google and stuff as well if it's something that you don't know much about, just so that you can see kind of what the start of it looks like and also some more severe cases. So if you are going to be sensitive to that, just be aware there will be things popping up on this side of the screen for you to have a look at. Very simple way of explaining to you what happens when your reptile has MBD is that when the phosphorus and calcium ratios are thrown off, your reptile's body sends a signal to a gland called the parathyroid gland to secrete a parathyroid hormone called PHT. And what this hormone does is it tells the reptile's body that there is not enough calcium and to basically take calcium from anywhere that is available, namely the bones, which is why you often see reptiles with You often see reptiles with very kind of skeletally misshapen and deformed bodies. Now, MBD can be caused by a variety of things, but the majority of these are, in fact, thank you, related to poor husbandry, which is something that you as a pet owner are responsible for. So these can be as simple as not supplying your reptile with enough calcium, but these can also include things like having a diet that is too high in fat, which would inhibit the absorption of calcium. Another common cause of low calcium is in fact a low levels of vitamin D, which of course will be related to their exposure to UVA and UVB. Your husbandry has the biggest impact on these guys, and therefore it is of the utmost importance. Thank you. Your reptiles rely on you to stay healthy. Therefore, it is of the utmost importance that you know exactly what you're doing, are keeping your reptiles at the right temperatures, you are exposing them to the right UVA and UVB, you are feeding them a healthy diet that is not too high in fat, and you are also supplementing with things like a vitamin powder and a calcium powder. These things are going to really kind of set you on the right path, and these are the things you absolutely need to be doing. Improper diet and improper lighting can be detrimental, and MBD can absolutely be fatal. And if you are providing the correct lighting, then you need to make sure that you are changing this at an appropriate interval. I change my lights out every 6 months without fail. I have a date in my diary where I do this. I always have spares in case one of them blows. This is, you know, unlikely to happen, but I always have backups just in case. And I also change my heat lamp on a regular basis. The temperatures you may think are maybe not as important, but if you're bearded dragon, for example, like Gary here, does not receive the proper temperatures, then this can in fact impair digestion, therefore impairing his ability to absorb calcium that I'm giving him. So you may well be giving them the right things, but if you are not also kind of exacting the right temperatures and UVA and UVB lighting, then it's not going to be absorbed, and that's where you can also get a problem as well. So just be aware if you think things are going wrong and you're not sure why, because you are supplementing and doing all these things. Check your temperatures, check your lighting, change your lights out, and make sure that you're doing all of that properly as well. Some of the things to look out for when diagnosing MBD, which should always be done by a vet, obviously. If you see anything that you think is not right and you're worried about, then immediate action should be taken, and the vet is the place that you want to be going. Always make sure that you're going to an exotic vet who is used to dealing with exotic animals. You do not want to be taking your reptile to someone who has no experience with a reptile, because they are entirely different to other mammals, because obviously they are not a mammal. Things that you might be able to spot that aren't right are a change in weight, particularly lethargic animal, some bowing, tremors, twitching, slight bumps or anything along the spine. I mean, even though Gary is a healthy weight, for example, he's in really good shape, but if anything were to go wrong with his spine or his legs or anything, he's not fat, so I would know what to look for. I would notice if there were bumps along the spine or anything. Something else you might notice is not necessarily a really soft jaw, but you might notice the jaw beginning to soften. It doesn't have to be kind of wibbly wobbly all over the place, but that is one of the things to go as well. Something else to look out for that you might not be aware of is also constipation. If your animal really has some of the other symptoms perhaps, and they are also quite constipated, really struggling to go to the bathroom, then this can not only be a sign of impaction, but this can also be a sign of MBD. Now, if you bring your animal into the vet and they suspect that your animal has MBD, normally it will be confirmed through blood work and x-rays, and they will put you on a treatment program, some of which may involve injections, oral supplements, and they will obviously be checking your husbandry and giving you advice on increasing temperatures, changing lights out, all of the things that I have previously mentioned. It's something that is going to need treatment over a period of weeks or months, and that will be kind of something that you have to deal with on a regular basis thereafter. It's something that you want to prevent in the first place. As far as I'm aware, there is no actual real cure for MBD, especially depending on the severity. Symptoms etc. will obviously lessen, but once you go past a certain point, your animal will be kind of stuck like that, and that is something that you want to avoid at all costs. If you scour the internet, social media, all of our wonderful kind of community groups and stuff, I'm sure you will see many a rescue story of animals with MBD due to improper husbandry, and this is something that is absolutely preventable and something that you should really be doing your research on before you bring an animal home like a reptile. These are not something that you can just light up, put the lights in, you know, turn it on every day and leave them to it once you've chucked some food in there. They do need, lights need replacing, bulbs need replacing, temperatures need checking, and these guys really do need their supplements and stuff, as well as a healthy, varied diet. I do also want to make it very clear to you guys that this is a really serious disease, and reptiles that are not treated when you suspect that this is happening are at absolute risk of death. I hope that you found this video informative and interesting. If you have, then please do give it a thumbs up. All kinds of reptiles can be affected by MBD. If you have one that is special needs and has MBD, or you have a story you'd like to share, then please do definitely comment down below. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram as well, and in order to make sure your husbandry is up to par, please do also check out my other videos. I have some really helpful ones on especially sort of bearded dragon diets and things like that, what you should be supplementing, all that good stuff. And it is a goodbye from me and the big man. We will see you in another one soon. Okay,